Welcome to Study Time, a televised home learning program produced by Rwanda Education Board.
Hello students, welcome to TV learning programs. I'm teacher Julius as usual, and today I'll be with senior 4 students entrepreneurship class. And we are still on our unit 6, which is market research. And today's lesson we are going to talk about market survey. We are going to talk about market survey. So, on introducing this unit, market research, so what is research? We define research as a systematic process of finding solutions to questions or to problems, finding answers to problems. So, research is a systematic process. Research goes through some steps because it involves recording, collection of data, and then you analyze the data collected for decision-making purposes or for different purposes. So now, under market survey, we are going to see what market survey is. We are going to talk about the reasons for conducting market survey and the reasons what we shall talk about here, the product analysis, we shall talk about the customer survey, even we shall talk about competitor survey, we shall talk about many things under this market survey. So what is market survey? Survey is a research. So market survey, we are defining it as an organized system of collecting, recording, and analyzing market-related data for the purposes of obtaining useful information. So when you are conducting a research, you have to collect information. We have to collect information. Then you record it. After recording the information collected, you have to carry out what you call data analysis. You analyze the information collected such that you obtain useful information for decision making. After analyzing, after carrying out data analysis, you take right decisions. Based on that data analyzed, then you take the decision in the business. So, we have many methods. You all know, when you are going to collect information, we have methods that we use in collecting data, collecting information, where we have observation method, we have what you call use of the questionnaire, interviews, even using customer panels. So all those ones can help you to collect data or information from your target population or from your target groups. So why is it important now to carry out the market survey? So when you conduct a market survey, it will help you to identify needs and requirements of customers. So a market survey helps a business to produce the right products and adjust according to ones to meet the changing customer needs. Customer needs are always changing. So one of the objectives of conducting a market survey is to identify customer needs and requirements. In this case, you will produce according to the needs. And you shall have that. When you produce according to the needs, this helps to reduce what you call wastage of resources. Because at this time, you know what they need, and therefore you must produce what they need, which will help to mitigate the wastage of resources in the business. So to conduct a market survey, a market research, this is very important in a business. And then you may ask you a question, when am I supposed to conduct a market survey to carry out a research? This may be before the initiation of the business, or even when you have started it, you can still carry out the research. You can still collect some information about the business products, whether they are liked by customers or not. And maybe you change according to their needs. You produce according to their needs. So conducting market survey is very, very vital in the business. Then, 2, we have that it helps to identify the nature of demand. Remember how we define demand, a desire of a customer backed by ability and willingness to have the commodity for. So, market survey helps an entrepreneur to understand the nature of demand for their products. In this case, we'll be able to know when demand is likely to increase and therefore you increase production of goods, and when demand is likely to fall, and therefore you also reduce the production of goods. Because if demand increases, and then you don't increase the production of goods, you see that one will create a problem in the economy. And when demand falls, and for you increase the production of goods, then you will get a loss because you not have people to buy these products. So it helps to identify the nature of demand, how demand changes, the trends in demand. Then it helps to identify the nature and size of competition, So what is competition? Who are competitors? Competition. So who are competitors? I want us to talk about who are competitors. A competitor is an enterprise or a business or a person selling or dealing in similar products like yours, meaning that when you are competitors, you are selling goods that are close substitutes, goods that may serve the same purpose. You are competitors. You are competing for the same customers. And therefore here, as the owner of the business, you need to know the kind or type of competitors that you are dealing with. You need to know their strength. You need to know their strength, and you need to know their weaknesses. In this case, when you use this, what you call the SWOT analysis, the strength, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and threats, SWOT analysis. Now, this tool can be used now to evaluate. Here, I want you to evaluate the strength of your competitors, and then you evaluate your strength. You evaluate their weaknesses, then you also look at your weaknesses. You see what they are better of, and also make sure you know what are you better with. So what are strengths? These are features or characteristics that may put your business at an advantage over others in the market. For example here, when you are conducting competitor analysis, you have to identify the strengths of your competitors. For example, you may know that my competitors produce good quality products. They produce good quality products. This is a strength. They produce good quality products. Then you may also look at some features. Maybe their businesses are properly located in a very good location. They are properly located. This is also their strengths, properly located. Maybe they have enough working capital which can be used to buy raw materials, presence of enough working capital. Maybe they have what you call distribution tracks. All those ones are their strengths. Now look at their weaknesses. So you may, based on their weaknesses, to outcompete them. Maybe they sell their products at a higher price. Maybe they don't give credit facilities. You have to look at that. So you may base on their weaknesses. If maybe they don't offer credit facilities, you may start offer some credit facilities. So here you have to lay strategies now based on their weaknesses. How can I overcome them? They don't have maybe good customer care. So for you, ensure now good customer care and see how you can compete with this. So here, through conducting market research, you are able to identify or to know, to assess the strengths and weaknesses of your business competitors. In this case, we have current competitors and potential competitors. Who are current competitors? The current competitors, those are businesses that are already existing, selling similar products like yours. Then potential competitors, these are enterprises or business that have the ability to produce and sell goods similar like yours at a future date. So here you may analyze what is more important here, what is more important. You have to analyze the strengths and weaknesses of the current competitors, those who are already in the business, and look at the strategies, how you can outcompete them. So it is very important. And remember here, when you're conducting competitor analysis, there are some of the questions that you should have. You see, when you're going for research, you don't just get up and go. No, you must have research questions. The research questions, you may form the research questions, you drive the research objectives. At the end of the research study, what do you want to know? What do you want to find out? So the research questions here should be in relation with your competitors. Then we expect you to come with answers for those research questions, the research problems. A problem in research is a question, a research question, a research problem, of which we expect you to come with a solution, because we have already defined research as a systematic process of finding solutions to questions, of finding solutions to questions. Then we have what you call one of the, another point as to why you should conduct market survey. We have for future market expectation. So market survey helps a business to forecast its sales. Forecasting. You forecast. Forecast that may be to predict and tell maybe that in future I expect to have sales worth this. So when you conduct a market research, a market survey, it will help you to predict or to forecast the likely sales to be made by the business in the future. Based on the information that you have, maybe due to changes in the season, you may know during this season, most of my consumers are unemployed, because there's what you call season unemployment. Most of my customers are unemployed, and therefore, I expect to have less sales. I should reduce production because they will not be having money to purchase my commodities. Therefore, you may try to forecast. Here, in this case, you will be able to predict what you are likely to get. Then we have another point, market survey. Helps an entrepreneur to identify potential customers and plan business activities accordingly. Who are potential customers? A potential customer. A customer may be a business or any person, organization. And in this case, we are looking at potential customers. Those customers with the ability to purchase business products at a given price in a given period of time. Those are potential customers. Now, when you conduct a market research, a market survey, you are able to identify these potential customers. And in this case, you may ask some of the questions, maybe how often you will design. There's what you call a market survey guide. You design a questionnaire. In your questionnaire here, you may put some questions that will be able to trap the income or different levels of income earned by your customers, so that you can produce accordingly, or to know these people, if I produce goods which will be sold at this price, they will be able to buy. They will be able to buy. So, market survey, when you carry out the research, you'll be able to identify potential customers, and then you plan business activities accordingly. Market survey helps to predict whether the business idea is feasible or not. What is a business idea? A business idea is any thought that one comes up with after scanning the environment and turns it into a real business. So in this case, you carry out what you call the feasibility study. There's what you call the feasibility study. The feasibility study. The feasibility study. So this is a study, research aimed at to identify whether the planned business will be successful, feasible. The feasibility study. A study aimed at identifying whether the planned business will be successful. And therefore, we expect for you to prove that your business will be successful, there must be some indicators, some signs that you will base on, and there you conclude that my business is likely to be successful. Maybe the level of competition is very low, you have identified that. Maybe products being sold on the market are of poor quality, and for you intend to produce quality products. Maybe there is a bit of market, well-developed infrastructure which will ease the transportation of your business products to different customers. So you may, based on those factors, maybe you have a lot of capital that you will use. So you base on such factors, because we have factors that are used to evaluate a business idea. We have them, a business idea and a business opportunity. That's the first topic of Senior 5. So a market survey will help to predict whether the business idea is feasible or not, whether it is successful, based on some factors that you have to identify during the study or the research. Then we have other factors. The business market research, the market research or market survey here is very, 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 very important. So market survey, we have other points. Market survey helps. Market survey helps to determine. When you conduct the research, it helps to determine the promotional strategies, the promotional methods, the promotional strategies to be used, to promote business products, promote business products. Now, what is promotion? In this case, we are looking at promotional strategies. These are ways, methods that will be used by the business to promote its business products, to increase its sales. These methods are aimed at increasing business sales. We have promotional methods, the advertising. Maybe you may apply we have different advertising media that we can use. You may decide to advertise your products using a radio, using a TV, through newspapers. So through conducting market survey, you will know, do my customers, all of them, use the TV? Do they like using the radio? And now, which radio do they like? Which radio station do they like to listen to? Is it Kiss FM? So you should advertise your goods using Kiss FM. Is it Radio Maria? My customers like listening to Radio Maria, and therefore, if you are to advertise your products, you must use that very radio station that most of your customers like to listen to. So market survey will help you to know the promotional methods that will be used to promote business products, the best advertising methods that you will use. Then, through conducting market survey, you are able to identify the best distribution strategies or methods that you will use to avail products to your customers at their different locations. So, market survey, it helps to determine. The distribution channel, or the best distribution channels, to be used to distribute business products to customers. To be used to distribute business products. To customers. Now, what is a distribution channel? A distribution channel, this refers to the way how goods from the producer reach the final consumer. In this case, you will be able now, with the market survey, market research, you are collecting information, you are recording information, and you are analyzing it. In this case, you are going to different places, you are visiting your customers. You will be able to identify different locations of your customers. Now, therefore, if you identify different locations of your customers, then you will determine which distribution channel will I use. Now remember, when we are talking about marketing variables, the 4 Ps, product, promotion, price. With the point of price, we said, it deals on how goods will be made available to customers at their different locations. So when you conduct a research, a survey, you are able to determine how best will you avail goods to your customers. A distribution channel, we have 2 important parties in the production of goods. We have the producer or the manufacturer. So the producer of goods, we need to know how goods, if he produces the goods or if he manufactures the goods, then we need to know how goods will move from the producer and reach the consumer, In between here, we have what we call the middlemen. So the middlemen here include the agents. We may have the agents. We may have what we call the wholesalers. And we may have what we call the retailers. So a distribution channel, the way how goods from the producer manufacturer reach the final consumer. And therefore, if the consumers, most of your consumers, are within or are around where the production of goods and services is taking place, then you will use what you call direct channel of distribution. That is producer to consumer channel. But if some of your consumers are very far, then you may apply what you call distribution. You set up what you call, you may use agents, you may have wholesalers, we may have retailers. So these ones may also help you to supply goods to the final consumer, the final user of goods and services, So we have different types of distribution channels, and they are based on how goods from the manufacturer reach the consumer. One is producer to consumer channel, where goods are supplied directly from the producer to the consumer without passing through the middlemen. Therefore, you should be able to justify the circumstances under which the middlemen may be eliminated from what you call the chain of distribution. So these people may be eliminated. So there are very many reasons that can justify that, why these middlemen may be eliminated from this channel of distribution. When goods are perishable, you may eliminate them. When consumers are around the business, you may not use those ones. So factors considered when choosing a distribution channel. Then we have other points. It helps an entrepreneur, if you conduct market survey, market research, you are able to identify the opportunities of your product over others on the market. It helps to identify the opportunities of business products, over others on the market, on the market. So you are able to know what opportunities do your business products possess over others on the market. So conducting market survey is very important. It helps to reduce what you call resource wastage. In this case, when you conduct market survey, you are able to identify what customers need, and therefore you will produce according to their needs. This will help to mitigate what you call resource wastage. It helps to reduce what you call resource wastage. This is through producing what customers need. By producing what customers need. what customers need. What customers need. By producing what customers need. By producing what customers need. So market survey is very, very, very important. It helps to know or to identify, to determine what we call customer reactions about the luring prices on the market. So you may know what could be the reactions of customers about the prices you charged your products on the market. So there are very many objectives or aims or reasons for conducting a market survey. So market survey is very important. There are very many points. So here, after knowing the reactions of your customers about the ruling prices on the market, you'll be able to adjust your prices. You'll be able to adjust your prices. So it is very important to conduct this market survey. So this is the importance, benefits, of which we are writing them using present simple tense. But asked objectives or reasons, then you have to use this. So before we wind up, then I have a question for you. I have an assignment which I want you to write, and then you try it out. So this is our question. I can say, ability to gather information, before and after commencing the business, before and after commencing the business is vital, full stop. Do you agree with the statement? Do you agree? Do you agree? Do you agree? Justify your option. These are two questions in one. Do you agree? Yes or no? If it is a yes, then you justify. If it is a no, you give the reasons. Thank you very much for watching and paying attention to today's lesson. I think you have understood how or why we should conduct market survey. Thank you. Bye-bye.